So that took an interesting turn.
I mean, that was quite a race up until lap 50. I thought Verstappen had this in the bag and it's not gonna change. But then comes a pit stop, a late one, more than 6 seconds. Norris catches up to Verstappen and the rest is history. I know you guys want me to talk about the incident because that's what you're here for, controversy. But let's get to it in a minute. First of all, congratulations to George Russell for a second Formula 1 victory. Have you guys noticed every time George wins, Verstappen crashes in the race? It's like how when Sainz wins, George has a DNF. This is something similar. But he had a very good weekend, qualified P3 because of Piastri's penalty, and because of that he was in a good place, picked up the pieces. A win is a win. And on the completely opposite side of the spectrum was Lewis Hamilton's weekend. He was not there on the speed at all. I mean, the sprint quali was quite bad. The actual quali was decent, but still he qualified quite below, and during the race he picked up damage. First of all with a slight contact from Sainz, and then later on he picked up some floor damage as well from one of the curbs. His car was riding a bit too low, and this is just a weekend to forget for him. So far, Lewis Hamilton has had a very underwhelming season. You could point it out to a lot of reasons. You don't know. I mean, Spain was really good, but apart from that, I read this somewhere that Lewis Hamilton has this specific driving style which is not suiting these new Pirelli 18-inch tires. So maybe there is some truth in that, but then Hamilton really needs to, go through the data and figure out where can he improve. For Perez, the weekend was equally bad. When it rains, it pours. He's not having a great form at all. I mean, he qualified P8 because he didn't have soft tires in the qualifying in Q3. He used all of them up until Q3 to come to Q3. So because of that, he didn't qualify well. He had incidences on the first lap, and because of that, he had damage on his side pod, and all in all, his pace was not there. The car was damaged and he was just picking up the scraps. Max, in spite of doing so many shenanigans in the race, still ended up ahead of Perez. Hülkenberg ended up ahead of Perez. So once again, it's a weekend to forget. But what was that incident with Piastri, man? It was very self-inflicted. He unnecessarily forced him wide. It was a lap 1 thing, so it didn't get investigated. But Perez really needs to introspect and pick up the form. And talking about the unlucky ones, it is actually Oscar Piastri because he qualified P3, but because of track limits, his track time was deleted. He was quite pissed off because according to him, you had gravel traps and things like that. So why are you deleting the track times? But anyways, rules are rules. So because of that, he started P7, made his way up. He was almost going to challenge George Russell at the end part of the race for the race win, but then the virtual safety car came and that never really happened. But imagine if he would have started in P3, his race could have gone completely in a different way and he potentially would have gotten a race win because that McLaren was clearly way faster than Ferrari as well as Mercedes. For Ferrari, their upgrades have not dialed in properly. That's exactly the problem because Monaco was their last really nice race. Then they got in upgrades, and since then they have the downforce. The upgrades have produced the required downforce, but then they are not able to tune it. There is something missing, and that's what they are looking after, and they don't expect Silverstone to be that great either. Leclerc was unlucky once again with Piastri. There was a lap 1 incident. Because of that, he went way down, and then the hard tires never switched on. Ferrari pitted him multiple times, and still he managed P11 and he couldn't get into points. Sainz, on the other hand, once again just picking up the pieces, got lugged out into a podium because Max and Norris fell off. And Ferrari pace is definitely concerning, and I hope that they can figure it out. But let's come to the main incident, that is Norris and Verstappen. And first of all, both of them were overly aggressive. Both of them were quite desperate to keep their positions, and let's unfold this thing one by one. So first of all, Norris was challenging Max, and I saw Max move under the braking zone at least twice. Once it was in lap 55, that was not that major. Then you had one in lap 61 as well. Now there is a rule about this. It's called the Verstappen rule, which FIA had put in because of these moves from Max Verstappen. He used to do it even more aggressively earlier on, but later on this rule was tweaked. So this moving under braking rule is a bit of a grey area, and that's why Verstappen also didn't get any black and white flag. He probably should have gotten at least for one of those moves, but they didn't do anything like that. Normally they do that when you move under the braking zone or drive erratically. I don't know what was wrong with the stewards. So yeah, so those moves were kind of already on the limit and in the grey area. Then on lap 59, you see this dive bomb by Norris. I mean, that was quite desperate. He lost the control of the car, went off track, came ahead of Max, and because he gained the position off track, he had to give it back, and that's what he did. This was a very desperate move, and they swapped the position. Everything everything was fine. And here in the meantime, Norris had exceeded track limits thrice already. This incident made it the fourth time. So obviously when you do it the fourth time, you get a 5-second penalty. But the stewards were considering this decision. This was on lap 59. So I don't know, this was a slam dunk penalty more or less, but they took way too much time to consider this, because if they would have taken the decision instantly, Norris would have gotten that 5-second penalty and Red Bull and Max would have played it a little bit safe. It would have kind of neutralized the situation a little bit, but they didn't do that. And on lap 63, Norris tries another dive bomb. This was not as bad as lap 59 and this was more or less okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you would have seen some other driver like Daniel Ricciardo or someone do this, you would be appreciating the late braking and the move on Verstappen. But as you can see, Verstappen went a little bit wide, gained a position of track, came back, and he never gave the position back. I mean, this could have been debated. They could have, discussed this further. Probably he would have gotten a 5-second penalty for not giving the position back. Once again, a bit slow from stewards. They should have at least put it under investigation or noted it, because this didn't look like that bad of a move. I mean, Verstappen definitely complained about it. Every driver does complain about the dive bombs, but you just have to go a little bit back in history to find a couple of similar moves from Max on other people. So yeah, anyways, this is gonna happen. So no decision on this as well. And then later on, you get this incident where they make contact and Norris's race is more or less over. Now, if you analyze this incident properly, everything's fine. You see, Norris has enough space. Verstappen has given him enough space. They are going to the turn. They are going. And eventually Max turns a little bit towards the left, and that's what initiates the contact, because they are quite neck and neck going into the turn. So that's why it was Max's fault. That slight left movement that he did while defending, that is what caused the collision. That's what the steward saved. And because of that, Max got a 10-second penalty and Lando's race was more or less ruined. So the fault of the incident definitely lies with Max, but it's not as crazy as people are coming out to be. I mean, you guys are racing. It's gonna happen. It was not malicious or Verstappen was trying to crash with Norris. That was not the intent. It was just aggressive driving that led to this. It was his fault and he got the penalty for that. So that's very clear. But Norris should have probably played it more cleverly as well. I mean, everybody knows that Max is an aggressive defender. A lot of drivers are, to be honest. It's not just Max. A lot of people defend aggressively, especially when it's for a race win. So he could have probably played it smarter. He could have moved a bit more on the outside, or he had pace anyways. So he could have just waited and made the move. And I guess that's where that experience of battling with Verstappen, or actually battling in the front, comes in. You've seen Charles do it with Max. You've seen Lewis do it with Max. They eventually figure out a way to get around him. But then with Norris, I guess it's a little bit more of a practice. It's the first time he's been in this position. So I would say eventually Norris was a bit too overeager, but he was not at fault. He didn't yield while Max was aggressively defending. And that's what happens when two drivers don't want to yield. It's a crash. But Max should have probably not veered to the left. So ultimately, yeah, I do agree with the overall consensus that Max was a little bit at fault. But I guess fans are blowing it out of proportion. The even worse incident in this race actually was Alonso battling with Zhou. I mean, that was so random. It was like Alonso was not even looking. But anyways, Max fans are always going to think he's right. Norris fans are always going to think he's right. But this is racing, and when there's going to be a title battle, when there's going to be a battle for race wins, it's always going to get dirty. It's never like, oh no, you pass, I'm gonna let you win. It's always going to get toxic. So yeah, just keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, just watch, and when your favorite driver is at fault, just accept it, because this is racing. People do make mistakes. They get penalties for it. And if McLaren is gonna keep challenging Red Bull for race wins, this is just the start of what's going to come in the future. But talking about Alonso, he feels completely checked out with the Aston Martin pace, because that car is so horrible. Even the Alpines are faster now. I mean, Alonso was just sitting behind and watching Ocon and Gasly battle, and he was commenting, wow, because Ocon was once again being Ocon and defending so aggressively. But anyways, Gasly still got into points. Both of the Haas cars were in points, and that is like a big deal for them. For the teams lower down, even a single point matters, and to have both of your cars in P6 and P8, that is absolutely insane. It means a lot more money in terms of the Constructors' Championship. And it was a great race for them. Good pace, good execution, good strategy. Everything was nice. Happy for them. Even Daniel Ricciardo got into points. He's slowly getting into the groove now. At least that's what I feel. Let's see what RB brings up in future, because their upgrades also have been a little bit faulty and has put them on the back foot. But it's definitely Aston that has no clue what they're doing right now, because their upgrades are making them slower. And Alonso is probably even considering, I guess, that what is he going to do next year if the car is going to continue like this. Honda comes in 2026. He still has 1.5 years to go. And even with Honda, you never know, because it's Aston Martin's team not getting the aero right, not getting the upgrades right. So if those basic things are not going to get fixed, it's going to be a very tough time for him. So I want to see how this thing unfolds. Is Alonso going to still continue with Aston or not? And if I talk about the other two teams, Williams and Kick Sauber, nothing really much to talk about them. They both were not on their limit. The track didn't suit them, and Kick Sauber is to behind only. I don't know when they are going to get into points. But that more or less was your Austrian Grand Prix. Quite boring for the most part, but then so exciting at the end. It was literally like this and then this in terms of excitement. What are your thoughts about the Austrian Grand Prix, the Norris Max incident? Let me know in the comments. Let's not get toxic. If you're gonna get a title battle, things are always gonna be like this. Once I'm gonna probably say your favorite driver was at fault. Sometime I'm gonna say some other driver was at fault. So I'm just saying what I feel like as a neutral fan. You guys let me know your opinions in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more race reviews. I'm trying to make them regularly. And also let me know your suggestions. What would you like to change in the race reviews? Should we add something else? I would love to know that. Let me know in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram on your F1 guy. That's where you get majority of the updates. So yeah, see you next week.